A couple of days ago, a short public response was written by Archbishop Vigano to a German rabbi who criticized him and, by extension, everyone who signed Vigano's appeal to the church to stand up against the rather obvious power grab going on right now by the elites. He accused them of being an anti-Hebrewite. The line of criticism went something like this: that anyone who signed the document was a paranoid conspiracy theorist. Go figure. It's a strange line of reasoning, especially coming from an outspoken rabbi, especially a German one, and Vigano points out how ludicrous that is coming from him. I have the full text of his response for you here, and I'll provide some context after the contents of the letter. Here is the full text of the letter by Archbishop Vigano in response to Rabbi Arens. Dear Rabbi Arens, since I have been criticized for my appeal for the Church in the world, I ask Katholisch.de to give me permission to answer you. I must tell you, Dr. Arens, that I am not a little surprised by your words when you say, "We have known for some time that there are people within the churches who adhere to such theories, but now they have the courage to express these opinions even more openly." I think it is the duty of each one of us to express our concerns about a situation that, taking advantage of the current crisis, goes far beyond reasonable safety measures, imposing on entire nations the deprivation of constitutional freedoms. This may not have happened in Germany, but it has certainly happened in many countries. I ask you, dear Rabbi Arens, in your opinion, is it still permissible to express oneself freely, or are there subjects that cannot be discussed any more in a civil manner? If you can express your disagreement with the content of the appeal, why should people within the churches not be entitled to express themselves freely as well? And why do you think that one would need to have courage in order to do so, as if a matter of mere rantings without any reference to reality? To dismiss these concerns, which have been expressed, moreover, by reputable personalities, as conspiracy theories, does not seem to me to be a constructive attitude, especially if one does not have the merit of disproving what is considered untrue. I therefore ask you, in what specifically do you disagree with the text of the appeal? What in the appeal represents a shock for you? Believe me, I would have never thought that the appeal could offend you. On the other hand, why should a rabbi himself feel criticized when there is now talk of the New World Order? The Messiah that Israel waits is Rex Pacificus, Princeps Pacis, Pater Futur Seculi, the King of Peace, the Prince of Peace, the Father of the world to come. Not a tyrant without morals who dominates the world by subjecting them as slaves. This rather applies to the Antichrist. Let us now come to the spiritual significance of the current crisis. In the Old Testament, there are many examples of punishments sent to the chosen people by God, and the prophets many times warned the Jews to abandon idolatry, and not to contaminate themselves with the pagans, and to remain faithful to the one true God. I recall here the words of the prophet Jeremiah after the burning of Jerusalem by Babylonian troops in 585 BC. Quote, "Her adversaries have taken over, her enemies prosper, for the Lord has afflicted her for her countless sins." End quote. See Lamentations chapter 1, verse 5. This vision, which the Church of Christ shares, shows us a just and merciful God, who rewards the good and punishes the wicked, who, like a loving father, punishes also his disobedient children, to bring them back to his holy law. For this reason, quote, turning the negative into the positive, turning a curse into a blessing, end quote, is achieved by recognizing that one has committed a sin, that one has broken the covenant with God, that one has deserved his chastisements. Then the epidemic also becomes an opportunity to return to the Lord, worship him in his holy temple, follow his precepts. There was a time when, with the obedience of the masses, a hellish dictatorship committed a very serious crime, making itself responsible for the deportation and death of millions of innocent people, only because of their faith and line of descent. Even then, the mainstream media praised those in power, remained silent about their crimes. Even then, doctors and scientists lent their work to a delusional plan of domination. Even then, those who dared to raise their voices were accused of conspiracy theories. One had to wait until the end of the Second World War to discover, with horror, the truth about which many had hitherto remained silent. I am sure that those who today delegitimize the appeal as an expression of conspiracy theories do not realize the real dangers to which the entire human family is exposed. But I am certain that both Catholics and all men of goodwill, and among them I think I can include the children of Abraham, have at heart the greater glory of God, the respect for the dignity of individuals, and the freedoms of people. Beatus populus, cuius dominus Deus eius. See Psalm 143, verse 15. Signed, Carlo Maria Vigano, Archbishop, Apostolic Nuncio. May 22nd, 2020, Feast of the Ascension of our Lord. Okay, so what's the context? Vigano is responding to criticism from a German rabbi, one Yehoshua Arends, and yes, I probably mispronounced his name. Get used to it. He called the Vigano appeal concerning our current crisis and the threat it presents for constitutional liberties a quote-unquote shock. He's glad that the German bishops have distanced themselves from this, sort of like how the German bishops did the same thing in World War II to criticisms of the German government's antics. Though to be fair, in that day it was most likely due to fear, and today it's probably for other reasons, money among them. But here's the kicker. The rabbi accused Vigano and anyone who signed the appeal or agreed with its contents of being an anti-Hebrewite. The following comes from the LifeSite article on this, and their translation is of his own words. Quote, "We have known for some time that there are people within the churches who adhere to such theories. We know that they have the courage to express these opinions even more openly now." While stressing the good collaboration with the Catholic Church in Germany, Arends points out that there still is a quote-unquote minority among the Catholics in Germany who have conspiracy theories. While insisting that Hebrews themselves are less prone to conspiracy theories, he states that, quote, "We know after all that in general these theories are about us," end quote. Wow, thanks, Rabbi. He goes on to reject the notion that this is a chastisement, because of course he does, and instead recommends that we all do what his people do, learn the lesson from the experience and move on. Kind of wonder what he thinks the lesson from all this is. Historically, that is really funny, given the accounts in the Old Testament, which tell the rather startling story that his people didn't always learn the lesson they were supposed to learn. But I digress. If you're not familiar with the Vigano appeal, I'll try to have a link to it in the pinned comment of this video on YouTube. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor.fm, or any other audio-only platform, just scroll through my recent uploads and you'll find it there. Or go to the sources blog at returntotradition.org and you'll see the post for it. Either way, it's worth looking at again. Vigano's claim is that there are people rather obviously using this crisis to push their own agendas, and that these agendas are pretty wicked. This was echoed later by, well, pretty much every bishop whose statements I regularly provide for you on this channel. So I guess the good rabbi is calling all of the better bishops anti-Hebrewites. Again, go figure. It wouldn't be the first time. Just go have a look at the American Dance League's website, and you'll see the various traditionalist orders and commentators listed as hate mongers. Let me know what you think of this in the comments, please. Pray for the better prelates, even if you don't agree with them on everything. I suspect that these accusations will only get worse moving forward. Thanks for listening. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.